After checking the scene and the person, making sure everything is safe, the first step is to open the airway with the person lying on their back and tilt the head back slightly to lift the chin. Step 2 is to listen for breathing. If you hear none, then you should go ahead and perform CPR. Step 3, place your hands, one on top of the other, in the middle of the person's chest. Use your body weight to help you administer compressions that are at least 2 inches deep and delivered at a rate of at least 100 compressions per minute. Step 4, deliver rescue breaths. With the person's head tilted back slightly and the chin lifted, pinch the nose shut and place your mouth over the person's mouth to make a complete seal. Blow in the person's mouth to make the chest rise. Deliver 2 rescue breaths, then continue compressions. Step 5, continue the CPR steps. Keep performing cycles of chest compressions and breathing until the person exhibits signs of life, such as breathing, an AED becomes available, or EMS or a trained medical responder arrives on the scene.
CPR manually pushes down onto a person's chest, forcing the blood out of the heart to circulate through the body. The brain is supplied with oxygen by breathing into the victim twice every 10-15 pumps of the heart. Breathing into the victim deoxygenates the blood in the body. Although the blood must be deoxygenated, the brain must be supplied with oxygen, or else the tissues in the body will die very quickly, stopping the metabolic processes causing hypoxia. This is extremely important in the brain because a significant loss of brain tissue can lead to scarring and loss of brain function. This happens within minutes of the blood supply being cut off, which is why it is so critical to administer CPR as soon as the victim has no pulse. The other major factor in CPR is to get the heart beating again. Most heart attacks happen as an acute stage of VFib, which is when the ventricles do not receive the nerve impulse to contract all at the same time. So the ventricles contract at different times, causing the blood to not pump sufficiently through the body. Although manually pumping the heart is the most important part, the person won't be able to survive if you don't administer the breaths, as mentioned before, to deoxygenate the body.
Peter! Peter! Come on, Peter, come on! Please wake up! Please wake up! Come on!
So what is CPR and how does it work? CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and it supplies the body, mainly the brain, with oxygen and gets the heart beating again. In the clip you just watched from the Hunger Games, CPR is administered correctly.
Peter, no!
What shocks Pete in the video is a fictional type of invisible electric force field. Seeing how it was strong enough to blow Peter back and knock him unconscious leads us to believe that this force field has an alternating current, producing over 500 volts of lethal electricity. This alternating current is the same kind found in almost all homes, and it's what we use every day to power our appliances and lights.
Peeta's hand was coated in sweat. As they were wandering through a hot jungle, sweat makes it easier for the current to travel through the body. Sweat is made of mostly water, with traces of minerals, lactic acid, and urea. The water is the key component here, as water is a very good conductor of electricity and allowed the current to flow more readily through his body. Exposure to high voltage electricity has the potential to result in some serious damage. When you get electrocuted, the electrons in your body begin to move quickly and create a current. As the current moves through your body, your flesh acts as a resistor to the current, similar to the way a resistor acts in a circuit. Electrical impulses are what our nerves use to communicate with one another, so this large shock interferes with that communication. What usually happens due to this lack of communication is the flexing of the muscles in the body, which usually leads to the victim potentially being launched across the room, similar to the way Peeta was thrown backwards in the clip. The current can also cross through your heart if the current passes through one arm and out the other. This can stop the heart, resulting in the need for CPR or another electrical shock for the heart to get its rhythm back. It's for the same reason that your parents always tell you to never stick a fork in a toaster while it's plugged in.
Turn your weapons to the Capitol. Turn your weapons to snow.
At the end of the scene, the audience thinks Katniss is dead, but she's alive because of her bulletproof vest. Bulletproof vests are made of material called Kevlar. Kevlar belongs to a class of materials known as polymers. Polymers work just like gauze, only at a more microscopic level. Kevlar is bulletproof due to it being an anti-ballistic material. Kevlar is light like nylon, but hard like steel. The basic unit of polymer is a chain. Each chain is in turn made of millions of units called monomers, linked to each other by chemical bonds. In Kevlar, the monomers are not only linked within their own chains, but also cross-linked to monomers in other chains.
The more cross-links, the harder it is to separate the chains from each other. This is what gives Kevlar the toughness and strength, which is 5 times greater than steel. When you make a thick layer of Kevlar, it can withstand a bullet at great speeds. The other uses of Kevlar are sporting equipment like gloves, helmets, and pads. It's made from Kevlar so it can withstand physical stress. It is even used to make puncture-resistant tires. As Kevlar is also used to withstand high temperatures, so it's used for protective clothing for firefighters.